Have you ever had that feeling where, on paper, everything looks perfect, but on the inside, you feel like something is just deeply wrong? Well, today, we're going to dig into that feeling. We're looking at why so many successful adults can suddenly feel like their lives are falling apart, and we're using some amazing insights from the book, After the Tears. It's really a journey to understand how a painful childhood can create these hidden cracks in what seems like a perfect adult life. It all starts with this quote from a man named Peter. Now, Peter is a successful lawyer, a husband, a father. From the outside, he has it all. But on the inside, he's so full of panic, he can't even get out of his car at the end of his own driveway. And his question, am I going crazy? Man, that just cuts right to the heart of this silent struggle that so many people face. So that really begs the question, right? How can someone who is so high achieving, so put together on the surface, suddenly feel like their entire world is just collapsing? Well, it turns out the answer isn't really in the present, it's hidden way back in the past. And this brings us to what we're going to call the present-day crack. It's that exact moment when the carefully built, shiny surface of a successful life starts to show these tiny fractures, revealing a really deep crisis that's been hiding just underneath all along. Just look at Peter's life. He was top of his class, on the fast track at his firm, with a loving family. By all accounts, he did everything right. And yet, he feels like a competent imposter, just going through the motions. He even admits he doesn't actually know what happy is supposed to feel like. And it's this huge disconnect that tells us something much deeper is going on. So to understand that disconnect, we have to go back and open what the book calls the childhood time capsule. This is where it all started. It's where the origins of that present-day crack are sealed away, just waiting for something to trigger it, to make it burst right open. See, when you grow up in a chaotic home, you learn to survive by following 3 unspoken rules. Rule 1, don't talk. Don't talk about the chaos, just pretend it's not happening. Rule 2, don't trust. Don't trust anyone because you learn that relying on unpredictable adults is just dangerous. And maybe the most important one, don't feel, because the fear and the sadness are just way too big to handle. And this little survival guide, it becomes the blueprint for every relationship you have for the rest of your life. And an environment like that creates what experts call trauma. Now, it's so important to understand this. Trauma isn't always about one big explosive event. It's any experience that just completely overwhelms a child's ability to cope, leaving them feeling totally helpless. And those unprocessed feelings, that helplessness, that fear, they don't just go away. Nope. They get locked away in that time capsule. And then, years later, something that seems totally harmless, like your partner playfully splashing you in a pool, can burst that capsule wide open. And suddenly, you're flooded with the terror of the past. You're not reacting to what's happening now. You're reliving what happened then. So those childhood rules were absolutely essential survival skills back then. But what happens when that survivor grows up? Well, the very same skills that kept them safe now keep them from ever really thriving. They get trapped in a life of just surviving, not actually living. Let's take Beth, for example. She becomes this super competent doctor but lives in constant fear of being exposed as an imposter. Then you have Richard. He takes all that chaos and turns it inward. He just believes he's a jerk who's destined to fail. They look like 2 totally different paths, but believe it or not, they both spring from the exact same root cause. And here's where their stories connect. Despite their different lives, their inner world is identical. It's this deep, biting loneliness, this feeling of never quite measuring up, and a profound struggle to form real, genuine connections. You see, the skills they learned just to get through childhood came at the direct expense of their ability to build healthy relationships as adults. Okay, so if that's the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, this brings us to the most hopeful part of this whole thing. The journey to healing. And it's all about moving from being a victim of your past to becoming the author of your future. Now, it's really important to get this. The goal isn't to forget the past. It's not about pretending it wasn't that bad. Healing is an active process. It means you have to turn around and face the past to understand it, to grieve the losses, and only then are you truly free to build something new. So what does that journey actually look like? Well, the source gives us a pretty clear roadmap with 4 key steps. It all starts with acknowledging the real impact of your childhood, no more downplaying it. From there, you move to grief, really mourning the safety and care you should have had. The 3rd step is to reconnect with your younger self, to offer that kid some compassion.
And finally, you can begin to build anew, to become the author of your own story.
A huge tool in this whole process is something the authors call the cognitive life raft. This is basically the intellectual understanding that you are not crazy. Your reactions, your anxiety, your mistrust, your need for control, they were all perfectly normal, sane responses to an insane, abnormal, and painful situation. Just that insight alone can lift this enormous weight of shame off your shoulders. And what happens after all that grieving and understanding? Well, a pretty remarkable transformation. You start to discover that the very struggle that you went through also forged this incredible strength inside you. And this is the final stage, rising from the ashes. People who go through this journey often develop these incredible qualities, a keen insight, a fierce independence, really powerful problem-solving skills. But maybe their greatest strength is the ability to transform their anger, to turn it from this destructive force into a powerful energy for creating positive change, not just for themselves, but for other people too. This quote just captures it so perfectly. It's not about getting back to who you were before. It's a complete rebirth. The process of healing creates something totally new, something strong and magnificent from the ashes of that old self. And so, we're going to end right here with this question. This journey through pain and grief, it isn't just about ending the hurt. It's about unlocking a potential you probably never even knew you had. It's asking you to imagine a future that's not defined by the wounds of your past, but by the incredible strength you forged while healing them. Who could you become?